McKellen arrived in Mumbai to kick off Shakespeare Lives, a global tour to mark the 400th year of the world's greatest playwright. His first stop was for a special session with Amir Khan at the NCPA in Mumbai. Sir Ian and Amir were also launching the Mami Film Club with a freewheeling conversation that touched on all the things he loves best: the stage, cinema, and of course Shakespeare.
Let me start off by welcoming you, Sir Ian, here to India, and
Thank you.
On behalf of all of us here and all your thousands and millions of fans in India, people love your work, and on all their behalf, a very warm welcome to you to India.
Well, there are two ways of discovering a city you don't know, and one is to look around and see the buildings. But the best way is to get around and meet the people, and I'm so lucky to have met Amir and Kieran last night, and to have made two new friends makes the visit complete. But I'm delighted to be here and seeing you all. Thank you.
Well, last evening I had so many questions for Sir Ian, but I kind of tried to hold myself back because I wanted to ask them all today. And let me start by asking you, I'm very keen to know, when was the first time that you experienced Shakespeare?
It changed my life, but I didn't know at the time. I was about 8 years or 9 years old and living in the north of England, where there was a lot of live theatre, and my parents liked to go to the theatre. And my sister, who was 5 years older, went too. And one day she said, "We're going to go and see a play by Shakespeare, Twelfth Night, comedy." I went, and I can't tell you anything about that production at all, except that I wanted to see more, and it was exciting, and the fact that it had been written 400 years ago didn't occur to me, really. And so thereafter I sought out Shakespeare on my own, but as an audience. It was always as an audience that I enjoyed him, and acting in Shakespeare came a little bit later.
The first time that I experienced Shakespeare was in my 10th grade when I was in school, and we had to read Julius Caesar. And it just went over my head, I couldn't make head or tail of it. Until many years later, I went to a small school in the Nilgiris, and the teacher there was reading Shakespeare, and the way he read it, really suddenly it opened a new world for me.
I get into trouble for saying this, but I think the worst way of discovering Shakespeare for the first time is by reading. I don't think Shakespeare belongs in the classroom, because most teachers are not qualified to excite their students.
Right.
Although you were lucky, you found somebody who was. But why should a kid of 13, 14 be able to read a Shakespeare play? That is for the experts, the people who spend their lives doing it. It's like giving me a score of a Mozart concerto and saying, "Listen to that." Well, I don't know what the notes mean, and Shakespeare's a little bit the same. So
very well put.
The best way to appreciate Shakespeare is to discover him in the medium for which he wrote, and that's a theatre with a live audience and live actors and direct communication, and then the players have got a chance.
Right. Tell me, how did you get into acting? So your folks weren't from an acting background or theatre?
I loved going to the theatre. It was the theatre rather than the cinema. We had cinemas up in the north, but they were called flea pits. You were going to catch diseases if you went to see it. And ever since, I've always thought the cinema was rather racy and exciting, but theatre, it felt like a home. And I love the fact that we call a theatre a house.
Right.
Full house.
So did you go to theatre school? Did you go to acting school?
No.
Oh, you didn't? Oh,
And you didn't?
I didn't either, yes, that's true.
Come here. I've learned how to act. There are some people who seem to jump out of the cradle able to act. Kenneth Branagh is someone like that, although he did go to drama school, but he could just do it. Derek Jacobi, my contemporary, is another. Oh, he didn't go to drama school, but they just seem to know how to do it. I didn't know how to do it. I had to find out. And, I'm sorry to depress you, because I'm a bit older than you. I'm still finding out how to do it.
You have to do it and make mistakes and learn. I'm not a born actor either. I see a lot of actors, and I see, they're like gifted.
Yeah.
I'm not gifted. I feel I felt I had to learn a lot of what I know today. And as you said, it's a process that's ongoing.
I was very, very lucky. After I'd been to university, where I'd done a lot of acting as an undergraduate, I joined a theatre company in the middle of England, in Coventry, which at that time had its own local theatre. You know, every actor of my generation in the United Kingdom did what I did. We went out of London into the regions, and we worked in regional theatres of the sort that I was at in Coventry, and then Ipswich, which is in the east of England, and then north to Nottingham. And I did 3 years, and it was a sort of apprenticeship. We did a different play every 2 weeks. And some of them were rubbish. We did a lot of Agatha Christie, which I didn't much enjoy.
No, but it's fun. I like it. Yeah.
Well, oh dear. We did musicals, we did Shakespeare, we did new plays, all sorts.
All sorts.
And you found out what you were good at and what you were not so good at, and the discipline of getting the show on and being ready to meet the audience was very good. And then I came to London. I was asked to be in a new play. That was 1964. My dad came to see it, and 2 weeks later he died. So I was always glad, because he was doubtful about me becoming an actor. He was worried.
He was worried.
Like a good parent should be, you know, when their child says, "I want to be an actor." Anyway, he saw me in the West End in London, and maybe he was happy because of that, and so it went on. And I joined national companies like the Royal Shakespeare Company and the National Theatre in London. And I used to do little bits of film, which, like you, I'm glad no one's ever seen. All my heroes, like Laurence Olivier and John Gielgud and Ralph Richardson, Alec Guinness, Michael Redgrave, of course they did films with great success, but they were rooted...
Their base was in theatre.
In the theatre. I hoped would be my destiny, and so it's been. Film, I just feel so lucky, and I'm waiting to be found out.
Tell me, did you have a rough time in the early days of your career? Did you ever feel low, depressed, uncomfortable with the way things were going?
I haven't felt that, and I'm one of those very unusual actors. I've never been out of work. But I've taken a lot of jobs that other actors wouldn't do, because maybe there was not much money involved, or it was a doubtful enterprise, or it was a long way from London. And that didn't worry me, because, as I say, I was learning on the job. I wanted to get better. And, well, there was one aspect which was difficult for me, and it's perhaps a little bit early to be bringing it in, but it's a big part of my life. Being a gay man and a gay young man at a time when it was against the law to be gay. Well, you know all about that. Yeah. It did inhibit me. If I had a love scene with a girl, if I'd had a love scene with a boy, that would have been fine. But I felt this was territory I knew nothing about, and I couldn't fake. And I did avoid romantic parts for that reason.
For that reason.
Well, but when eventually I came out and said publicly I was gay, I thought I better declare to the world that I'm going to carry on as normal, and I'm a gay man, but I'm an actor. Therefore, I can do anything, regardless of my sexuality.
And at that point, it was illegal in the UK.
It was legal, but I think you had to be 21.
So how old were you when you came out into the open?
These are very personal questions. Well, no, I was 49.
You were 49 when you came out in the open.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knew, but I hadn't said it.
You hadn't said it.
That's the crucial thing.